Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn complex numbers with Python. We know that complex numbers has two components, the real component and the imaginary component. For example, we have a variable x equal 3 plus 7j. So the type of x is complex, and we know that 3 is the real part and 7 is the imaginary part. We can get the imaginary and the real parts using the following. Let's say x dot real. It will return a float number equal 3.0, and x dot imaginary, IMAG for short, it will return 7.0. Notice that dot real and dot imaginary dot IMAG returns float even though they were defined as integers. Okay? If we want to print x, it will be printed inside parentheses to eliminate any confusion. Okay? Also, x dot conjugate, we want to get the conjugate of x, it will be 3 minus 7j. X equal 3 plus 7j, and the conjugate of x is 3 minus 7j. The conjugate has the same real part and the same imaginary part, but with opposite sign. So the conjugate of x will be 3 minus 7j. Okay? You may ask why in x.real and x.image we don't use parentheses, and in conjugate we use parentheses. For now, just know that real and imaginary, IMAG for short, are properties of the x object, so no need for parentheses. But conjugate is a method performing an action on x. We will learn the difference between properties and methods in object-oriented programming using Python, so don't worry about that. You just want to know that .real and .imag are properties and conjugate is a method. Okay? Let's assume that we have a variable a equal 6 plus 2j and b equal 2 plus 5j. We can add a to b. Okay? We can a minus b. We can multiply them. A multiplied by b. Okay, we can divide them. A divided by b. Okay. But we can't use this expression a /b to take the floor of complex number. We can't take the floor of a complex number, so we get an error. We get an error cannot take floor of complex number. Okay? Let's say we have a variable y equal 100. The real part of y is an integer, okay? And it doesn't have an imaginary part. So the imaginary part of y is 0 and the real part will be 100. Let's check it. Y dot real is 100. Also y dot imaginary is 0. Okay? Also, if we have a variable z equal 120, I want it to be float 120.53. Also, this float number z 120.53 doesn't have an imaginary part, so the imaginary part of z is 0 and the real part of z is 120.53. Let's check it. Z dot real equal 100.53 and z dot imaginary, IMAG for short, is 0. So if y is an integer, the real part and the imaginary part will be integers. The real is 100 and this is an integer. The imaginary part is 0 and this is an integer. Also, here z is a float, 120.53. So the real part and the imaginary part will be also floats. z.real is 120.53 and this is a float. z.imaginary is 0.0 and this is a float. So if we check the type of y, it will be integer. The type of y dot real, it will be integer. The type of y dot imaginary, IMAG for short, will be an integer. Also, if we check z equal 120.53, so the type of z is float. The type of z dot real is float. Also, the type of z dot imaginary is float. Okay, we are done for this lesson. In the next lesson, we will start with functions and loops. So, see you next lesson and bye.